chat, and welcome to a gloomy evening in virtual reality. Always in virtual reality. So in today's video, I am of course on my 2017 Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory, listening to the beautiful sound of my ST Project exhaust after having not ridden this bike for about a week and a half. Main reason being, I was in Texas. Finally checked off the bucket list item of going to see Valentino Rossi race in MotoGP. Now this took place at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, or just outside of the city, or downtown Austin, Texas, right by the airport, at what is undoubtedly one of the most challenging Grand Prix racing circuits in existence. So my lovely girlfriend and I flew out to Austin on Thursday of last week. That was September 30th. Arrived in Austin in the afternoon, picked up a car, went and checked off another bucket list item, which was to go to Family Business Beer Co. Founded by one of the actors that was one of the two main characters in the Supernatural TV series, which I'm a fan, not gonna lie. Did enjoy the show quite a bit. So checked that bucket list item off, had some nice beer, went and checked into our Airbnb, and got some rest to head to the racetrack on Friday to watch free practice. So we slept in a little bit on Friday, having traveled all day on Thursday and then driven about 45 minutes or an hour outside of Austin to go to Family Business Beer Co. So we actually missed the first free practice session on Friday, which was also a wet session, the only wet session of the weekend, which was actually quite relieving because the forecast leading up to the race weekend called for thunderstorms and rain basically every day. So we were fortunate enough to have some better weather than that which I am experiencing now. Oof. Love the way this bike sounds. But yes, it was much sunnier in Austin, although it was incredibly hot and unbelievably humid. Pretty sure we were looking at 100% humidity, like basically the entire time we were there. But the sun was shining, the track was dry, and the conditions were better than they would have been if it were wet. Got to see the MotoGP riders carrying much more lean angle than they would have been able to in the rain. And just pushing and hitting much faster lap times, of course, being that they were able to run the slick tires and have a lot more grip. So we did a bit of walking around the racetrack, just trying to get different views from different areas of different corners. Didn't go too far, just around the front straight, as well as turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and turn 9. We had seats in the grandstand at turn 1, which was really cool. You got to see the MotoGP riders and also Moto2 and Moto3 riders flying up the front straight, wide open, braking as late as possible, and turning the bike in for that very slow, tight corner, going all the way down from 6th to 1st gear, at least for the MotoGP bikes. We need some fuels. Ah, Tuono, you're a thirsty girl. Don't know if I've ever gotten gas on this bike in a video before. That's not right, I totally have. Before I forget, reset to my trip odometer, since I don't have the luxury of a fuel gauge. Aprilia. But yeah, it was quite the spectacle to see, especially as they turned it into turn 1. It's a very slow corner again, I think the slowest corner on the track. And it was just insane to see how far they would get those bikes over. Literally mind-boggling. Anybody else think the Tuono's gas tank is just a little bit difficult to fill? It's just me. No, I do not want to wash my motorcycle in a car wash today, thank you. It is Thursday. Thirsty Thursday for the Tuono V4. Anyways, on Friday we also walked around the track. There were a lot of vendors out there. A lot of manufacturers out doing demo rides, including Aprilia, with basically their entire fleet of 2021 motorcycles. Unfortunately, I did not have any gear with me. Did not plan on packing any because I was not aware that that would be an option. So I chose not to ride. Not that I think I would have been able to, lacking a helmet and a jacket and gloves and whatnot. But my buddy Michael was out there and actually did offer to try to hook me up with some gear that he had. He works for Aprilia. So Michael, appreciate the offer, buddy, but gonna have to wait until the Racer Days event. I also figured I wouldn't get to really experience the bike just putting around on some back roads behind the circuit. Not many twisties out there. I will certainly be doing an Aprilia Racer Days event in 2022 where they will have all of those bikes available, and I will certainly be taking advantage of the opportunity to ride the new Tuono V4 factory on track. Ooh, check out that sky. It is pink. I hope there isn't a fire nearby. Crazy, these colors. Very distracting. Wow. Anyways, my buddy Michael, who works for Aprilia Americas, also was able to make sure I got the sizes I wanted and needed for some pretty sweet Aprilia shirts. So very stoked on that. I've needed some Aprilia swag in my life, especially since I've owned Tuonos for over a year now and have nothing to display my affinity and loyalty to the brand aside from the motorcycle itself. It will actually be sunny this weekend. That'd be nice. So anyways, after all of the Friday fun, we left the track and were picked up by one of my girlfriend's good friends and co-workers who showed us around the city of Austin, and we went out to a nice Mexican restaurant for dinner and then hung out on a rooftop bar at a hotel, got drinks and a beautiful view of downtown Austin. Got home pretty late, slept in again on Saturday, headed to the track just in time to catch the last free practice session of MotoGP. Very fun and exciting again. On Saturday, we changed seats and we're seated at turn 15 in the grandstands. Really awesome view of the end of the back straight. So you get to see all of the MotoGP bikes braking from 210 plus miles per hour, all the way down from 6th gear to 1st gear for a 40-ish mile an hour corner. Then they go through this very technical section of the track. Lots of quick transitions, double apex turns, a decreasing radius, and then you just catch them exiting into two fast sweeping right-handers. It's a great view there. Got to see Valentino Rossi, my hero, pull a wheelie, which was really, really, really cool. Really enjoyed that and wish I had gotten it on video.
So what do you think Suzuki are hiding where they quickly put the boards up and don't let the cameras in like that?
All they're kind of down to me is trying to grab this next bike, and I would have thought that it'd be sitting there ready to go, but obviously sure. You know, they all feel like they need to know that
But it was a truly fantastic day. Once we were done at the track, we were picked up once again from our Airbnb by another friend of Hillary's. It took us out to an awesome barbecue place. It was absolutely delicious and I think a hallmark Texas thing to do. So had a great time there, of course. Got home at a reasonable time. Were able to go to bed and get a decent night's sleep ahead of race day. Ooh, man, it is quite stormy looking over here. Oh boy. And that brings us to Sunday, race day. Got to the track pretty early. We were able to catch the MotoGP warm-up, which was really cool. We were also able to get up on the observation deck, which, if you've never been to Circuit of the Americas before, not too far behind the paddock area and a little bit more towards turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, or that side of the track, there is an observation deck that is 231 feet, if I remember correctly, above the ground. So it was pretty incredible to be up there and just watch all the riders ripping around the track, getting warmed up, getting their elbows down, accelerating over 200 miles per hour, and then smashing the brakes down to 40. What a sound those bikes make. I've got to say, if you've never heard a MotoGP bike before, and you like motorcycles, particularly sport motorcycles, I would definitely put that on your bucket list. Truly amazing to hear those things. Can't even really say that they scream, they really roar. All those V4s, and then of course the cross-plane crankshaft inline 4 engine on the YZR M1 Yamaha MotoGP bike. Yeah, it looks like it might have rained up here not too long ago. A few wet patches on the road. But the observation deck was definitely a highlight of the whole experience. That was really cool just to get the bird's eye view and see basically every corner on the track, as long as you were willing to walk to other sides of the observation deck. From the, I think, northeast side, facing northeast, you were able to see turns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the back straight between turns 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I think turn 16 was the last one you could see just from that one side. So it was awesome. My eyes definitely followed Rossi around that entire part of the track more than once. And all the other riders too at some point or another, of course. So that was super cool. Did a little bit more walking around the track, just checking things out, shopping for merch. Hillary really wanted a Fabio Quartararo hat because Fabio is her favorite MotoGP rider. Always nice for your favorite to be leading the World Championship. I haven't had that luxury since 2015. Actually, there might have been a brief period in 2016. Sadly, I can't remember. But nonetheless, we got her Fabio hat. Actually, I think we might have done that on Saturday, but we also got me a Rossi hat on Sunday, because what would a trip be for a Rossi fan without a Rossi souvenir? After that, we headed to the main grandstand where we would sit for the duration of the races. And we watched everything: Moto 3, Moto 2, and of course, the main event, MotoGP. So the Moto 3 race was really cool to watch. All those guys are kids, really. Mostly people in their teenage years and a few in their early 20s, ripping around on these tiny little bikes, just throwing them into corners, throwing them up the inside of each other, around the outside. And there were some pretty crazy events that unfolded. One rider had a high side coming out of turn 11 onto the back straight. Unfortunately, was hit by his bike. I think he had a minor injury in his hand or his ankle, but was otherwise okay, thankfully. So that actually red flagged the race. They restarted it, I think, with 12 laps. Then it was red flagged again when one rider clipped another, causing both of them to crash. And then another rider that was behind them to literally hit one of the bikes like a ramp and launch up into the air and crash as well. Fortunately and incredibly, all three riders got up and walked away. So that was pretty amazing. But they called the race at that. It awarded people, I think, based on finishing positions before the first restart. Moto 2 was also super exciting. It's really great to see Joe Roberts and Cameron Beaubier out there representing the United States, my home country. Joe had a pretty tough race. Seems like an amazing guy, and definitely has the potential to be one of the greats of the sport at some point in time. I know it was a tough weekend for him, but he still did great. Rode way faster than I think I will ever be able to, although I should not say never, because who really knows. But yeah, Joe Roberts, incredible racer. It was awesome to see him. And Cameron Beaubier actually started 5th, his best qualifying position, I believe, ever in Moto2, and finished 5th. Also his best result in the class to date. So congratulations to him. That was also really cool to watch, and loved his American racing team livery that he and his teammate were rocking for race day. And then that brought us to MotoGP, the main event. Unfortunately, Rossi was starting in the back of the field, which, to be fair to Rossi, he hasn't gotten any slower than he's ever been. It's just everybody else has gotten faster than anyone's ever been. So it's made it very, very difficult for him to keep up and stay competitive, hence why he has chosen to retire this season. Still one of the all-time greats, obviously, and it was a dream come true to see him race, and also to see him come out to greet his fans afterwards. Pretty much everybody in the main grandstand was chanting Rossi. It was a truly magical moment, especially once he walked out following the podium ceremony, which, hats off to him, because everyone was chanting Rossi basically from the time he made it back into pit lane at the conclusion of the race until he came out, with a few gaps in between. But he didn't interrupt the podium ceremony. He made sure not to do that. So a true legend and a true gentleman. But the race was super exciting. Marc Marquez, who I'll be honest, not a Marc Marquez fan. He's starting to grow on me again, but I just didn't really feel like I could connect with his personality and style, although I cannot deny that he is one of, if not the best, motorcycle racers to ever throw a leg over a bike. And I know this season has been incredibly tough for him, coming back from that horrible injury, breaking his humerus after getting hit by his bike following a 100-mile-per-hour high side at the start of the season in 2020. Took him out for the rest of the season and a couple races this season as well. So I gotta say, have a lot of respect for him, and also congratulations to him. Hats off to him. Fabio Quartararo, championship leader, defending, coming in 2nd place, and Pecco Bagnaia on the Ducati coming in 3rd. Something else that was cool that I forgot to mention was I got to see 2 MotoGP bikes up close and personal. First, that of Brad Binder, the KTM RC16, and then Maverick Vinales' RSGP Aprilia, which of course has a special place in my heart, being an Aprilia. But really cool to see the bikes in person. They're crazy machines, super long wheelbases, crazy wings and aerodynamic components all over them, insane brakes and calipers, extremely high pegs and rear sets. Just really, really, really cool to see those up close. Despite Aleix Espargaro's challenges and crashing out of the race, so no finishes for Aprilia for the weekend, still makes me proud to be a part of the Aprilia community and a proponent and advocate for the brand. So the races were super fun to watch. Moto2 was also awesome, as you may or may not know, depending on whether or not you subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't, you definitely should. But I do own a 2012 Triumph Daytona 675R. That is a dedicated track/race bike that I do club race. So I've been a long time fan of the 3-cylinder soundtrack. It was great to hear those ripping around. So much for a stoppie. Really made me want to put a different exhaust on my Daytona and open up the soundtrack a little bit. 3-cylinder engines produce one of my favorite sounds. Second, of course, only to the glorious Aprilia V4. As loud as the SC Project CRT is on my Tuono V4, still does not hold a candle to the sound of a MotoGP bike. Seriously, put it on your bucket list if you love motorcycles. It's incredible to hear. Definitely recommend earplugs though. I was wearing earplugs for most of the weekend. I did have to be a little bit of a silly Chad and listen for just a few minutes without earplugs in while I was on the observation deck just to get that pure MotoGP V4 and cross-plane inline 4 sound, which I'll say was worth it. But don't go there and not wear earplugs at all. You will damage your hearing. So after the podium ceremony for MotoGP and after watching fans storm the track and coax Rossi out of his garage to wave to everybody, which was a truly awesome moment to behold, Hillary and I left the track, went back to our Airbnb, got some pizza, and just chilled. We flew home the next day, where I was able to get the Supermoto out for just a few minutes, in virtual reality of course, to the virtual wheelie spot, witnessing some crazy thunderstorms off in the distance, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, we had thunderstorms and lightning. It's pretty wild. And rain, which is good because we need that here. But other than that, just been getting back to normal, back to work. Been super busy this week, as I did take 3 days off, and usually just taking 1 day off creates enough extra work for me that it makes it difficult to get out and ride. But it's been pretty gloomy and overcast this week anyways, so whatever. But anyways, there's some V4 glory for you. There was a little one, bringing it back down with the rear brake. First gear power wheelie. Yeah, progress. But anyways, that's going to do it for me in this one. Hope you enjoyed the story and catching up on my MotoGP weekend. Should be back to normal next week with producing content. Whoa. But yeah, I should be back to producing more content next week. Hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a gentle little click of the like button. Subscribe, once again, to see more content that is motorcycle related, Aprilia Tuono V4 related, racetrack related. I am a club racer, of course, and will be racing, hopefully, AFM Round 7 at Buttonwillow towards the end of this month. Assuming they will let me compete with my CRA license, because while trying to register, I have found out that they may not honor that, and if they don't, I'm not sure if I will be able to complete one of their certified new racer schools in time. Which is silly, because Track Days, who used to do the new racer school for CVMA, does the one for CRA, so it's like, come on guys, it's good enough. But again, turn those notifications on if you do subscribe to find out when I post a new video. And drop a comment below. Have you been to a MotoGP race or any motorcycle race for that matter? What'd you think? Let's talk about it. But with that, I bid thee adieu and hope to catch you in the next one. Until then, later.